The wind comes first, low, distant, hollow, brushing through the frozen ridges like an exhale the world forgot. It rolls down from the Chiringa Range, curling around tents that glitter with frost beneath an amber dawn. Elara stands still, feeling the vibration through her boots, a whisper that no one else seems to notice. 50 years ago, this slope devoured an entire team, and the villagers said the mountain was mourning. Today, it only waits. Marek's instruments click and hum, plotting pressure points in ice older than memory. Kieran murmurs a prayer, his words carried away like dust in the wind. Above them, a faint crack echoes, not loud, but alive, stretching like the sound of fabric tearing under weight. Elara looks up sharply. The snowfield stirs, just once, then stills again. No one speaks. The mountain listens back. The morning breaks into motion. Ropes coiled, gear checked, breath freezing in rhythmic bursts. Nadia's camera hums to life, capturing moments that will later be studied frame by frame. Elara reads the sky instead, watching clouds drag their bellies across the peaks, like warnings written in vapor. Jonas argues logistics over the radio, his voice clipped, too calm. Marek interrupts with a new anomaly, seismic resonance, lower than any he's recorded here. He calls it the heartbeat of something enormous. Kieran won't meet his eyes. That's not science, he whispers. That's memory. The group laughs uneasily, but no one answers when the ground gives a single low thud, so deep it could be imagined. The mountain is waking slowly, stretching its limbs beneath centuries of ice, and above them, a cornice the size of a cathedral begins to shift by less than a breath. By mid-morning, the sun slices through the haze, blinding against the ice. Marek's drones rise like insects, mapping the slope's texture in grid patterns. From below, the mountain gleams, too perfect, too still. Elara studies the monitors, noticing microfractures spidering outward where no stress should exist. It's as though something inside is pushing out, not in. We'll adjust the route, she says, but Kieran's gaze stays fixed upslope. Nadia captures his silence, sensing it tells the real story. The static on the radio grows louder, cutting through the air like the voice of the wind itself. Then faintly, through the crackle, a tone. Low. Rhythmic. Mechanical. Echoing through every channel at once. Marek frowns. Pots. Coming from under us. Nobody moves. Even the air seems to hold its breath. Night falls too soon. The team gathers around the tent's dull glow, faces pale beneath headlamps. Marek replays seismic data. Deep vibrations rolling in patterns every 7 minutes, steady as a pulse. Elara listens, but her eyes are on the shadows outside, where snow drifts in strange circular motions. Jonas laughs nervously, says it's wind pockets. Nadia keeps filming, framing the light flickering against their breath. Kieran kneels outside, pressing his ear to the ground. It's waiting, he murmurs. Inside, the tent fabric rustles, though the air outside is still. The readings spike once, then again, like a breath drawn inward. The team doesn't yet know what waits beneath them. An ice shelf hollowed by 50 years of silent pressure, now ready to collapse with the weight of their dreams. In the early hours, Elara dreams of her brother's last transmission. Static, wind, a voice whispering her name before the line went dead. She wakes to the same sound, only real this time. Wind howling through the past like memory resurrected. Outside, the camp is silver with frost, and a strange luminescence shimmers across the glacier. Marek calls her over to witness it. The snow glowing faintly from within, each fracture illuminated by refracted starlight. It's the ice crystals bending the moonlight, he explains, but his voice wavers. Kieran refuses to look. The mountain groans once more, louder, deeper, like something dreaming of movement. Elara stares up at the sleeping giant, its face alive with slow blue fire, and in that breathless moment she understands the mountain isn't still. It's listening. And it has begun to answer. The sound comes before the motion. A deep, rolling groan that feels alive. Elara jerks awake to the rhythmic pulse beneath the snow, her heart sensing with it. Outside, the wind carries a strange tone, a tremor layered with something that almost resembles a heartbeat. Merrick bursts from his tent, data tablet in hand, shouting readings that make no sense. The glacier has shifted 7 meters in 1 hour. The world seems to inhale. Kieran's prayers rise sharply in the cold, his voice cutting through the noise as Nadia films the ridgeline just as it begins to glow. The sky turns from silver to blinding white, and a low thunder shakes the air. Elara looks up. The upper face of the mountain is moving. "Get down!" she screams. But the command is swallowed whole by the roar of something ancient breaking free. The avalanche erupts in silence first, a blinding wave that erases shape and color. Sound follows a heartbeat later, an unending growl as the mountain's skin peels away. The air itself becomes a weapon. Nadia is thrown backward, her camera tumbling through the whiteout. Merrick shouts for the drones to track movement, but they're gone, swallowed by static. Elara dives behind a ridge, dragging Jonas down beside her. He's yelling something, but she can't hear. The sky is gone. The ground is gone. All that remains is motion, pressure, and light. For a moment, time stretches thin, flakes suspended mid-air, gravity pausing to breathe. Then the full weight crashes down, burying sound and thought beneath 50 years of waiting snow. When Elara opens her eyes, there's no up or down, only blue light filtering through packed snow. The world is muffled, a low hum pressing against her skull. She calls out, voice absorbed instantly. Her hand finds her radio, frozen solid. A flicker of red light glows weakly beneath her parka. Mark's beacon signal somewhere below. Crawling feels like swimming through glass. Her breath fogs the narrow space, and she counts each exhale to keep from panicking. Then, faintly, a knock. 3 taps. A pause. 3 more. She freezes. Kieran taught them that rhythm. A survival code from the Sherpas. He's alive. But the sound is getting weaker, as though moving deeper, pulled downward by the mountain's breathing earth. Far below, Marek and Nadia dig themselves out of a pocket where air tastes like metal. Their headlamps slice through fractured ice, reflections multiplying into endless tunnels. Nadia's camera blinks red, still recording. The footage shows their breath moving like smoke in zero gravity. Marek mutters about subsurface caverns that shouldn't exist, his voice trembling between awe and terror. The whole glacier's hollow, he says. Nadia doesn't answer. Her lens has caught something. A slow, shifting shadow inside the ice, like a vein pulsing deep below. It moves once, then vanishes. The sound returns, low and steady. The same rhythm from before, but heavier now, as if the mountain itself is answering Kieran's prayer. Kieran finds himself suspended in darkness, wedged between 2 layers of snow that flex like breathing lungs. He can't see, but he feels warmth radiating faintly below him, unnatural for this altitude. He presses his palm to the ice, whispering the mountain's name. It vibrates beneath his touch, not with malice, but with recognition. Above, faint shouting echoes through the snow. Elara's voice, calling his name. He answers once, twice, and then everything shakes again. The mountain isn't finished. With a deep, resonant sigh, the snowfield collapses further inward, pulling him down into the dark. Somewhere above, Elara screams his name, as the signal lights fade to black. Light returns as a pulse, faint, blue, and breathing. Ilara claws her way through packed snow until her glove breaks through a soft crust of ice. The world beyond is a cathedral of frozen air, an immense cavern glowing with refracted moonlight from fractures above. She gasps, chest heaving. The avalanche didn't kill her. It uncovered something vast and alive. Marek's voice crackles faintly through the radio, warped by static but real. She stumbles toward it, passing columns of translucent ice, each layered like the rings of a tree. The deeper she walks, the louder the hum becomes, vibrating through her ribs. The glacier isn't solid. It's hollow, and it's moving. I'm below the eastern ridge, Marek's voice says. You needed to see this. Marek kneels beside a chasm that glows from within. His instruments blink erratically, temperature rising, pressure dropping. He turns as Ilara's figure appears through the haze, her movements slow, deliberate, almost reverent. Between them stretches an opening where the glacier's floor melts into luminous mist. It's geothermal, Marek whispers, though disbelief cracks his tone. The glow pulses again, deep amber now, as though the mountain's core were breathing. Ilara kneels, touching the edge. The ice is warm. For a moment, everything is still. Then a sound rolls upward, low, resonant, impossible. The sound of cracking stone from miles beneath. The cavern trembles, a storm building from inside the mountain itself. Nadia's voice breaks through the static, faint but alive. She and Jonas have found an air pocket, trapped beneath layers of snow that vibrate with rhythmic quakes. We're under the ridge, she says, coughing. The snow keeps breathing. Marek adjusts the receiver, wincing as feedback howls. Every frequency trembles. You're sitting on a live fault, he warns. Get out of there now. But the reply freezes mid-sentence, replaced by a new sound. Something scraping against the ice, steady and slow. Jonas lifts his light, illuminating the wall beside them. The ice moves. Lines stretch, shift, then close again like muscle under skin. It's alive, Nadia whispers, voice barely audible. The mountain's alive. Kiran drifts between consciousness and dream. The deeper he falls, the warmer the air becomes. Metallic, damp, pulsing like the inside of a living thing. His radio flickers faintly, voices overlapping like echoes in water. He lands hard on a bed of half-melted ice and stares upward. Above him rises an enormous cavern wall etched with black veins, frozen sediment, or something older. He murmurs a prayer and touches one of the lines. It vibrates. From somewhere below, a deep rhythmic pounding begins, like the slow throb of an immense heart. His voice trembles. Forgive us, he whispers. We were never meant to see this. The survivors' radios flicker to life at once, overlapping shouts, static, and a low roar building beneath. Ilara's voice cuts through, the glaciers collapsing from inside. You have to move. But her words vanish as the cavern floor trembles. Cracks spider outward, glowing with molten blue light. Marek stares down, horrified. It's not geothermal. He breathes. It's the pressure release. The entire face is melting from within. Above them, the ice begins to rain, droplets hissing into steam as the air grows hot. Ilara grabs Marek's arm. We have to get everyone out before it breathes again. The mountain groans, ancient and terrible, as if answering her. Then the ground opens. The roar begins low like a pulse turning to thunder. The glacier heaves beneath them, a heartbeat made of stone. Ilara stumbles as walls of light and snow twist inward, swallowing the cavern whole. Marek grabs her shoulder, shouting something drowned by noise. Up! She screams back. They climb as the ice splinters below, entire ridges folding like paper. Nadia's voice bursts through the calm again, frantic. The ridge is giving way. We're moving. Her words dissolve into static. Ilara looks up and sees the fissure above, thin and bright, daylight cutting through the darkness. For one fleeting moment, she believes they can reach it. Then the mountain exhales, and the world turns white again. The camera survives where people almost don't. Nadia crawls through a narrow chute, blood in her throat, still clutching the recorder as if it's part of her body. The lens catches every flicker, steam rising from melting walls, shadows twisting where there should be none. Jonas drags her upward, his face set in grim silence. "Drop it," he yells, but she refuses. "People have to see this," she gasps. Behind them, light pulses again, amber turning red, followed by a thunderous groan. The footage stutters, then clears, showing the impossible. The ice itself folding inward, swallowing its own shape like a lung collapsing. The mountain is devouring itself to survive. Marek and Ilara reach the fissure, only to find it leading deeper, not out. The tunnel curves upward like a throat, hot wind rushing through. We're inside the fault. Marek gasps. This is where it started. The air shimmers and cracks open along the walls, revealing thin seams of liquid water glowing faintly gold. Every sound echoes 1,000 times, returning distorted, like voices calling from other caverns. Ilara presses her hand to the wall. "The mountain's hollowed itself," she says softly. "It's emptying." Above them, the snowpack rumbles again, another avalanche forming inside the first. Pressure feeding pressure. They run toward the light. Kieran kneels beneath a vault of collapsing ice, his lamp flickering. The mountain's voice is everywhere, a low, sorrowful moan that shakes his bones. He knows what he must do. From his pack, he pulls the prayer stones, relics he's carried since the ascent began. "You must close your mouth, Great One," he murmurs, placing them in a circle around the fissure's glowing center. The air grows still. For a moment, it feels as if the mountain is listening. Then the rumble fades into a single drawn-out sigh, a sound that could almost be relief. Karan closes his eyes. Snow drifts down like falling ash. When Ilara's voice calls his name moments later, there's no answer. The survivors burst into the open, or what's left of it. The avalanche field stretches endlessly, a sea of moving snow. The air trembles with the sound of settling ice. Nadia and Jonas collapse beside Ilara and Marek, faces streaked with frost and disbelief. Behind them, the ridge erupts one final time, a surge of white fury roaring into the valley. They watch as the avalanche rolls past, reshaping everything it touches. When the sound finally fades, silence reigns. The mountain has exhaled. Ilara falls to her knees, staring upward at the peak, now cracked and glowing faintly under the pale sun. "It's over," Jonas whispers. But deep below, the earth hums once more, slower, softer, as if sleeping again. Silence weighs heavier than the avalanche itself. The survivors sit scattered across the flattened valley, surrounded by ice sculpted into strange, fluid shapes, remnants of motion frozen mid-breath. Ilara stares at the ruins of base camp, now half-buried, tents folded like wilted petals. Marek's instruments are gone, their data erased by the storm. Nadia's camera, miraculously intact, blinks with a dying red light. "It's still recording," she murmurs. Ilara doesn't answer. She can hear the distant hum, faint and rhythmic, still pulsing through the ice beneath them. The mountain sleeps again, but not in peace. It waits. The realization lands heavy. They didn't survive it. They survived with it. Nadia replays the footage, her gloved finger trembling over the screen. The camera shows the avalanche from within, ice folding like lungs, light bending in patterns that almost form faces. Voices whisper beneath the roar. Not words, but a cadence that feels ancient, intentional. "It's impossible," Marek says, his voice breaking. Echo distortion can't form structured sound, but when Alara listens closely, she hears her name, then another, her brother's, whispered in the storm. The past, the dead, the mountain, all merged into one slow exhale. Nadia looks up, eyes wet. It's not echo distortion, she says softly. It's memory. Jonas finally speaks, his voice rough, tired, and edged with guilt. This was never just a climb, he admits. The sponsors knew there was seismic instability. They wanted proof. The range was collapsing. To open a mining corridor, the others stare at him, horror spreading like cold through their chests. Alara steps closer, her voice trembling with rage. You led us here to wake it. He doesn't deny it. It was already waking, he mutters. I just helped it happen sooner. Merrick lunges, but Alara stops him outside. The wind howls through the valley like a warning, sweeping across the ruins of their ambition. The truth settles. They weren't explorers. They were intruders. They find Kieran's prayer stones at the mouth of the fissure, arranged perfectly in a circle untouched by collapse. The snow around them is warm, faintly glowing, as if preserving the last breath of something sacred. Alara kneels and touches the nearest stone. Beneath her glove, she feels vibration. Steady, gentle, like a heartbeat. He closed it. Nadia whispers. He gave it rest. Marek shakes his head slowly, eyes filled with awe, or he taught it to sleep. Above them, clouds peel apart, revealing sunlight fractured through lingering mist, forming an iridescent halo around the peak. For a moment, the mountain looks peaceful again, but the hum beneath their boots never fades. Night falls slowly. The world bathed in cold blue light. The survivors build a fire, a fragile pulse of warmth against an endless expanse of ice. Nadia's camera lies beside her, still recording the quiet. Do you think anyone will believe this? She asks. Alara gazes toward the peak, where cracks glow faintly like distant lightning. It doesn't matter, she says. The mountain remembers. The wind rises again, carrying a deep tone through the valley. The same rhythmic hum that started it all. Marek looks up, realization dawning. He whispers. Alara closes her eyes, calm at last. Then let it. We've heard its voice. The fire flickers. Snow begins to fall, soft, endless, and patient. By morning, the landscape has changed again. Valleys that once existed have vanished beneath drifts taller than cathedrals. The GPS reads nothing. No coordinates, no direction. Alara studies the horizon where the sun should rise, but only a pale, diffused glow marks the east. We move now, she says. Marek protests, claiming the terrain's unstable, but she keeps walking, following instinct instead of instruments. Nadia limps behind, clutching her camera like a relic. Jonas brings up the rear, eyes hollow. Around them, the silence feels heavy, almost conscious. The mountain no longer growls or groans. It only watches. Every footstep sinks deeper, as if the snow itself is pulling them in, guiding or warning. No one can tell which. They find the glacier by accident. A wall of ice so polished it reflects the world like glass. Nadia lifts her camera, mesmerized. Their reflections look ghostly, moving slightly out of sync, delayed by a heartbeat. Marek studies the surface with unease. It's shifting, he says. Then their reflections move on their own, slightly turning, slightly smiling, gestures the real climbers haven't made. Jonas swears and backs away. A sound rises from within the glacier, like breathing reversed. The mirrored surface begins to crack, splitting their images in two. Run, Alara whispers, though she doesn't move. The wall fractures completely, shattering in silence, revealing a narrow path descending into darkness below. The path winds downward into a tunnel carved by melting ice, the air thick with mist and echoes. Every drop of water sounds like a footstep just behind them. Merrick mutters equations under his breath, trying to measure the impossible. How the glacier could hollow out without collapsing. Ilara presses forward, guiding them with the faint sound of running water. "If we follow the flow, it'll lead to the valley," she says. But the tunnel's pitch deepens until it becomes a spiral, descending farther than light can reach. Jonas stumbles. "We're not going down," he growls. "We're being taken down." The mountain's heartbeat hums again. Distant, steady, patient. The tunnel opens into a hollow, vast enough to swallow their voices whole. Nadia's camera flickers, its final battery dying, but she lifts it one last time. Through the lens, the ice pulses with dim light. Shapes flicker. Not human, not shadows, but memories frozen mid-motion. Faces screaming in silence, storms suspended in crystal. She lowers the camera slowly. "They're all here," she whispers. "Every climber that ever vanished." Merrick shoves past her, refusing to look. "Light tricks," he insists, though his voice is shaking. Ilara reaches out, touching one of the frozen figures. For a moment, it feels warm. The glacier exhales. The lights go out. The tunnel ends abruptly, opening to nothing. Before them yawns an abyss, its depth swallowed by darkness. Wind rushes upward, carrying snow and whispers. Ilara steps close to the edge, eyes fixed on the faint glimmer below. A reflection of stars, or something deeper. "We can climb down," she says quietly. "No one climbs back from that." Jonas grips her arm. "We stay here until it calms." But the ground trembles again, the first true quake since the collapse. Snow falls from the ceiling in slow motion. The mountain is breathing again, gently this time, as if deciding their fate. Ilara looks down once more, then takes a step forward. The fall isn't violent. It's slow, like sinking into breath. Ilara feels the snow give way beneath her, the air rushing upward, sound dissolving into silence. Merrick dives after her instinctively, his rope snapping taut before slipping free. Nadia screams, the echo swallowed by the hollow below. They plunge through layers of snow, ice, and memory. Colors bending, sound distorting, the world thinning into light. Ilara lands on something soft, luminous. Beneath her palms, the ice glows faintly with veins of gold, pulsating in rhythm with her heartbeat. Merrick lands nearby, coughing, dazed. Around them, the cavern expands endlessly, a cathedral of living ice alive with slow movement. "We're inside it," she whispers. "Inside the heart." Every breath resonates through the chamber. The light brightens with their voices, dims when they fall silent. Merrick runs his hand across the ice, tracing the glowing veins. "It's pressure," he mutters. "The mountain's not solid. It's a living circuit." But Ilara isn't listening. She hears something beneath the hum. Whispers, thousands of them, layered and ancient. She presses her ear to the ice, and her brother's voice answers. "Leave," it says, faint but clear. She recoils, tears freezing on her face. Merrick grabs her arm. "Ilara, look." The ice above them fractures, forming a spiral of light reaching upward. It's not collapse. It's release. The mountain is exhaling again. And this time, it's letting go. They climb toward the light, each movement echoing through the cavern like the beat of a drum. The walls ripple with warmth, now, melting into streams that flow upward instead of down. Gravity bends, time stretches, and for a moment Ilara feels lighter than she's ever been. Merrick pauses to glance back. Below them, shapes move within the ice. Climbers, Guides, faces they thought lost forever, all ascending slowly with them, drawn toward the spiral. "They're rising," he says, in awe. Ilara smiles faintly. Then we follow. The tunnel narrows into a blinding shaft of white, wind howling like a breath through a flute. One last step, and the light swallows them whole. They emerge into blinding daylight, but the world is changed. The peak is gone, replaced by a vast plain of ice gleaming under a crimson dawn. Nadia and Jonas stand nearby, faces pale with disbelief. The mountain's once terrifying silhouette is now fractured, a smooth hollow glimmering like glass. It collapsed inward, Marek murmurs. It's healed itself. Ilara looks to the horizon where the avalanche path once lay, now a mirror reflecting the sun. The hum has faded. The air is utterly still. "We're standing on the scar," she says softly. Jonas kneels, touching the ground. "No," he whispers. "We're standing inside the heart that stopped." As the sun rises, the survivors begin their descent. Slow, reverent, wordless. Every step feels heavier, as if the mountain is reluctant to let them go. Nadia carries her camera, though its lens is cracked, flickering faintly. Marek walks beside Ilara, silent. At the ridge, he stops to look back one final time. The range glows softly, as if breathing in sleep. The hum is gone, but she can still feel it, deep in her bones. A vibration older than memory. She knows they've witnessed something sacred, something that will never be believed. 50 years, she murmurs, and it was only waiting. She turns away. Behind them, a single gust of wind rises, carrying snow into the sky like dust from a closing book.